so plan A was a loser on the fitting. Pretty disheartened about that, but all hope is not lost. So now we come in here, and see, this is the crap I dealt with the other night. I need all the link that I have right here, but it's a pain in the butt to try to mess with it initially. All right, so, oh, this shit's right in my face. Let's do this. I don't know that I really need this sticking up here quite so far anymore. It can lay down a little bit. There now, a little less in my face. All right, so these go to the outside of this guy, so gonna kind of, as much of a pain in the butt as that is to get it unclipped, I'm gonna clip it in place where it was. So these, if you see right here, the brake line goes to the inside on this mount. These two go to the outside and run along here. Now it looks like they kind of need to bend just a little bit. They're one right on top of the other. Now for these, I already tried to go ahead on this one right here. I tried to go ahead and flare it. This is stainless. This is like hard stainless. I don't know what it is, if it's 304 or what it is, I don't know. But when I tried to put a flare on it, it just pushed the tube back out of my little janky flaring kit, and it didn't matter how tight I put it on there. It did it every time. So my plan for this, now these don't see any pressure. So technically I could use rubber hose and go all the way back to the fuel tank, but I don't like that idea because it's kind of hard to affix it. It wouldn't fit in the holders right here, and it wouldn't look nearly as nice. But I'm not gonna rule out that completely because it's always a possibility that I might have to do that. But that ain't my plan. My plan is to do it in this hard line and then put a little short piece of hose right back at the tank. It'll look nice. It'll be way cleaner and nicer to do. So that's my plan at this point. So gotta get started here. So if I kind of roughly snap this guy in place, I can see how far off I am. So it looks like I'm gonna have to start with an S bend right here to bring it out to meet these, which is kind of weird actually because it should be pretty close right here. So what I think I'm gonna actually do, well, no, I was thinking I might put a bend in it back here, that way it would let this lay just a little bit straighter, but when I put an S bend in it right here, it's gonna actually shorten this to do it. So I think I need to just go ahead and kind of throw me an S bend in until I can figure out how far off I am. So from right here, it looks like maybe an inch, maybe? Let's see. There's not a lot. So I'm just gonna try to butt it up and just kind of see where I'm at here. So it looks like I'm about 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna need to bend this in about 1.5 inches. So I just gotta pick my little spot wherever I'm gonna put my first bend in it. And then I'll show you my swanky bending tools I forgot to show you earlier. So we'll put our first one right here. So we'll pull them out. Once I ever get going with it, it's not super bad. I mean, it went okay when I did the last one. Hopefully this goes as well. Luckily this tubing is not super expensive, so when I screw it up and I have to go buy more, not gonna be the end of the world. All right, so if we go, what did I say, 1.5? That's gonna be right there. Now, the one good thing about doing this S bend first is that the ones on the truck right now, they are not just going directly into the frame and then going straight. They're actually kind of rotated down a little bit. So if I miss this measurement just a little bit, I can rotate it up or down a little bit to help it kind of get me where I want to be. So let me go grab my little bending apparatus. All right, so I got two. So I told you about the one that I had. Now that's this guy. Now you can use your thumbs on the small stuff, but it will kink the shit out of it. And you can use this because you see it's rounded, so, and if you try to go too tight with it, it will, it'll kink it too. Now this one, you've got these marks right here, and that's gonna signify the start of your bend right there, so that would be like 45. This would be probably 90, I would say. No, that's gonna be farther than that. So maybe those don't signify that. This should signify the top of your bend though, just looking at where it is. And then this one I took and I made these on there myself. That way I could kind of get at least some kind of gauge. Most of it is by eye because this stuff's not real hard to bend, but at least that gives me some idea as I'm bending it. So I don't know which one of these I want to start with. This one's a little easier to kind of throw on there, so we'll try it with this one first. So the fun part of this is figuring out exactly how you want to bend it. So like right now, if I line up this center mark right here and I make my bend, it's going to bend from here this way. Where if I turn around, it'll bend from here this way. I hope you understand. I hope you can see that, right? So, I gotta get my stool. This is hard on brother's knees. Where is my stool? There it is. So I ran and looked back at the camera right quick. This stuff's a little bit in my way, but I'll try to keep it where y'all can see me here. All right, so we got our piece of tube. So right now it's dead straight, so it doesn't, the first bend doesn't matter a whole lot on if you're parallel or not. So we're gonna line this joker up. And let's see. So I don't know how much bend I want to put in it. I'm just gonna kind of throw one in it and we'll see from there. This is not a perfect science, obviously. I'm gonna pull it to this first mark. All right, I don't love that. That really kind of shrank it down. That kind of tried to kink it a bit, so we'll try this one. So now for the second bend, so like when you set it up, which this one has got the size of the tubing marked on it. On the second one now, you gotta line it up and you wanna try to get it looking like it's as parallel as possible. So like right now, if I pull it, I'm gonna bend it the wrong way. So basically what I'm gonna use is this handle, and then when my handle looks like it's running parallel to my tube, that should have me where I wanna be here. And I hope y'all can see this. So I'm pretty much lined up where I wanna be. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this down and bend it until I feel like I'm parallel with this. I'm not in love with that either. Now, I'm not parallel right there. Actually, I almost went a little too far, so I either need to bend this one a little bit more. I like this bender better though. This one was trying to kink right here. This one made a much more fluid bend. So I'm gonna definitely go ahead and grab this and see if I can bend this just a little bit more. If I can figure out how to do it. This is where I always get confused. All right, I think I got it here. I don't know why, I can't see this the right way I'm supposed to in my mind as far as how to use this thing. I struggled with this the other night. That's why I said I'm not particularly great at this. I can use an actual tubing bender and I'm pretty decent with that, but this thing kind of eludes me a bit. All right, so just bend this down a little bit more. Kind of tough when it's short like this. All right, so I don't know if you can actually see that good. Feeling pretty good about that now. It's running pretty parallel. Let's get that thing out of here. Definitely not using that again. All right, so the good thing about this stuff is that, like I said, it's pretty flexible because like right now, I am not running straight. In the middle of doing that, this thing is kind of turned this way. So I'm basically just gonna grab it and kind of force it where I want it to be. Like I said, it bends really easy. All right, so let's see how bad we're off right now. Go through this ridiculous amount of bull crap. All right. So that's really not too bad, honestly. I think I might be able to make that work. See, like right now, it's coming in at an angle, but the tubing is coming in at an angle. Actually, it lines up with the bottom one perfectly, but it's not the one I'm trying to do first. I'm trying to do this one first. So basically, my gap from here to here, where I bent it, is a little bit off. But the good thing about that is I can still pull it out and make them meet, and it should be just fine. Because I really don't want to waste that tubing to have to do it again. I think I can make that joker work actually. Because like I said, I'm coming in at a weird angle already. So I think that'll work. So I'm going to push that together. I'm going to call that one good. We're going to move back here and see where we're going to put our 90 in. Because once we kind of get that part figured out, this gets a little bit easier to fit. And I'm really not happy with that right there. I forgot this is a fuel line. I'm gonna starve this thing for fuel. Well, drat. I don't really want to have to, because if I cut it off, I'll cut a lot out of it. Then I'm gonna have to put a union in it somewhere through there. I don't want to have any more joints than absolutely necessary, because that's always an area for something to leak. Shoot. That is kinking it off. I don't know what I want to do about that, because it's good right here. Can't really open it up, because once you put that kink in there, you can't take it out. So might have to just grab the other piece and work with it. Let's do that. Part 2. Take 2. Luckily this stuff is not super expensive, so let me go grab the other piece. Alright, so take 2. So I'm gonna try to kind of start this basing it off of this other one. Be nice if I could figure out the distance between the mark and where the bend actually starts, because then I could just move it forward that much. I mean, I guess I kind of could, because if I say right here is the center line of the radius of the bend, I could measure that. Looks like it's maybe 3/8 of an inch. It is 1/2 inch. Okay, so let's do this. Really? So if we come back, make our mark right here. All right, so let's get this guy out of our way. So I'm gonna make the mark all the way around. So there's our first one. So then, what did I say it was? 1.5 inches. I believe that's what it was. 2 inches off the frame, about 1 1/8. So I had that way off. So I'm gonna go with 1 inch. I'm gonna go with 1 inch between the two. All right, so if I figure 1/2 inch to the center line radius, so then I go 1 inch. So that would mean I would want the bend to be right here and right here, which I don't actually know if that's possible because of how my little bender works. So I'm just gonna try to put it as close to that as I can. So if I went 1/2 inch past, and that was my center line radius, so then center line to center line, I'd be 2 inches. That would be, perhaps I'm really looking way too much into this. Let's make the first bend, see what we got. Because a lot of it has to do with the degree of the bend too. Because if I don't bend it very much, it doesn't move as much. All right, here we go. Here goes something. I hope. If I put it here, yeah, the center line of my bend is right there. See the center line of that? Oh, I screwed up. Yep. So I just screwed up because I got in a hurry. So what I did was I put this right here where I actually, where my mark was, and then it bent it way here. So instead I put it where I figured the center line of my bend would be. So I moved everything back. So basically, now I've got to put the center line of this bend right where this mark is. So I just moved everything back a little bit. Should be fine though. Like I said, I'm not very good at this. And as y'all have heard me kind of narrate, I'm figuring it out as I go, so bear with me. Once again, I overbent this one, but that's okay. I can pull this one a little bit. I think that's gonna come out a lot nicer though, actually. All right, well, there's that. So, already looks better. There's no kinking right here. Starting to understand how that center line radius is working a little better for me. We'll see. I've already ruined one piece of tubing, so this is the last one I've got here tonight. So I may wind up having to buy out all the Advanced Auto Parts has before it's all said and done. All right, so start with this top one. Oh man, nailed that. That's awesome. Heck yeah. All right, so I'm really happy with that. So now we got to go back in. We got to mark where we're going to put our two hard bends to get it on the outside of our C-notch. All right, so next up, I'd say we're going to want to make our bend probably right about here. This is just a guess because I can't really get it to push down here where I really want it. I think that'll be fine though. So now we got to figure out how far it's got to be. So looks like 3 inches there and approximately 1 1/8. So that's going to give me, what is that? 1 7/8 of separation. So I say we call it 2 inches. I'd rather it be a little bit big than a little bit short. It's not an exact science. So 2 inches from our mark. For those of you that are watching this that are actually good at doing this, just consider this like a comedy show. I'm never going to be great at it, but I try hard. So this is what's tough. So if I go, the bend won't be right there. So if I figure the bend is going to be, we're just going to go right there and see what we get. We're going to wing it, boys and girls. It worked on the first one. At least I'll have this video I can go back and look at if I have problems with the second one. Because basically it just needs to match this one identically. Because it just is going to go on the bottom. Alright. I will say this 5/16 stuff is a little bit harder to bend than the 1/4 inch was. So now I got to make sure and be careful to make sure that I've got this section sitting the way it's supposed to be. The way I make sure here of what the top is going to be of my bend. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying here, because I want to bend this directly out. That's going to be my top edge. I'm going to bend to this side of my line, because if I go to this side, it could be too short, because I can't pull this away. I can always slide to it a little bit, but I can't go this way. I can always cut a little bit off if I miss it that way. And then at some point we just got to go for it, right? I think you're actually supposed to have this sitting on a table or something when you do it. I'm gonna walk over and sit on the table and bend it. Oh man. All right, so I took it over to the table and I bent it, and I did get it bent to 90 degrees, and then I stopped and I looked at it and it was starting to kink, that bad boy. So lesson I just learned is don't try to bend 5/16 to a 90 degree bend. It's not going to be good. So what I did was, as you see, I opened it up some, the best I could, kind of with my thumbs. It wasn't kinked yet, but it was kind of starting to flatten out, which I don't like. So I think what I'm going to try to do is move this forward just a little bit, decrease. Okay, so right before the video so rudely shut me off, we were working on some brake line and some fuel line. Now, I'll be honest with you, the video shut off because my camera ran out of storage. I told you that I was dealing with my phone being full and then my backup camera being full. I had to do some moving around, some transferring of some files. I thought I had enough space cleared up on my camera. I did not. So that's why the camera shut off. But I'll be real honest with you, you didn't miss much, because I'm just gonna go and tell you that it took me all week long to do these three pieces, these three lines right here. Like, it looked cool. It looked like I was excited about it. I thought it was gonna be fun, using that little bender and everything. And this stuff ain't too hard to bend, so shouldn't be too big of a deal. And man, I eventually just had to face a reality. I just am not very good at using that little bender and doing this. It took me forever to get it figured out. I'd want to bend in a certain place. I'd miss that. And it took me forever to do. And I did, I was going to try to video all of it. And now I'm really glad I didn't, because I would have wound up just probably scrapping it all anyway, because it just was, it would have been terrible. It would have just been me walking back and forth to this truck and wanting to throw this stuff and everything else. Now, I can actually say that I did not buy any new tubing. This is the original pieces that I bought, because I figured out how, if I did go just a little bit too far, I could kind of put it against my table and I could work the bend back out and it wouldn't kink or anything, which once I kind of got it all sorted out, wasn't super terrible. You'll notice they're kind of silvery looking now. I just took a scuff pad when I got done and went over and just kind of scuffed them up and painted them black, threw a little silver on them, because that would look better against my frame than that ugly, just, I don't know, olive drab green or whatever that stupid color is. I don't know. So we do have the two original wire slash line holders on the truck. The one holds about right here, and then the other, I believe, is about right here. Now, I found this guy. It's just kind of a snap together deal that I can put, that will hold all three of them where it goes over the top of the C-notch, but it just holds them together. It doesn't actually hold them to the notch. What I wish I had is something like, well, I don't see one handy. I had all those holders. Well, one of those holders like what's on the frame now. It's got the stud on it. Obviously, I'm not going to put a hole in my C-notch to be able to put a nut on the back side of that. I wish it had where I could drill it or something, and if I could bolt them on top of the C-notch, it would just hold them a little bit better. But kind of my thought process is that if I can snap them all together on top of the C-notch, right here where this brake line comes down, it will be hard mounted where the flexible line comes in. So by way of this one, it should hold the other ones good and steady. If it doesn't, I've been kind of looking around on Amazon and Summit and some other places to try to find something that's a little bit more like what I want. If I find something, I'll use it. If not, I think this will work just fine. This stubs out where I'm going to have, I don't know, 10 inches or so maybe of fuel line that'll go over and attach to the fuel tank with the factory connectors. I'm really happy with how it all turned out. Like I said, it would not have been good video to watch. It was, it would have been, for anybody that's actually good at this, man, y'all are talented, and hey, great for you. You would have got a good laugh watching me struggle with this, which, I mean, I guess kind of that's what the channel is about, is just a hobbyist struggling with crap like this. So maybe I would have thought it was funny. I'm sorry I robbed you of that. Hopefully there've been enough funny moments, and there'll be enough funny moments to come. So we still got plenty to do though. So our next step, we're gonna put these jokers on here. So I did go ahead on the brake line. I did go ahead and flare the other end of it and get it ready to go. So I'm gonna throw a little Teflon tape on each one of those fittings, even though technically it doesn't have to have it because it is a flared fitting. It's just a habit that I have. I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything to put, you know, Teflon tape on it. So that's what I'm gonna do. So all that being said, let's see if we can fish these lines on here. Alrighty, so first things first, we'll put our little union on our brake line right here. Alright, now, let's fish this line on here. Now, see if I can remember how to do this. Now, if I had this shock off of here, it would be much, much easier to do. Oh yeah, I came from the back. It would be a lot easier to do, but I do not. I can't remember the proper sequence that I had to go through to get this damn thing in here. There we go. I think. There we go. Eureka! All right. Snap this guy in. Right here. Hey, look at that. I sure hope this all seals up good. I fully do not expect it to, because that would be entirely too easy if I just drilled it on the first try, but I mean, stranger things have happened. What is it, how does the saying go? Some days even a blind squirrel finds a nut. Well, feels pretty good right there. So that was locked in, that was locked in. Alright, well, feeling about as good about that as I can. So that's not terrible. Everything's pretty much where it's supposed to be for now. So now I'm going to use a compression fitting on these two. Now, my concern is that this stainless tubing is so hard that, I don't know, it won't seal up good or something. I don't know. If it doesn't, it doesn't see much pressure on either of these two lines, because the pump is actually up there at the front. So this is really just kind of a suction line, and the other is just a return for overflow. So neither one are seeing very much pressure. So if the compression fittings don't seal up good, I can cut a little piece of hose and put between them, and it'll work just fine. I mean, I'd rather not do that, just because the compression fitting's a lot cleaner, safer, don't have to worry about maintenance over time. So I would like that a lot, but I don't know, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. So I'm gonna grab the ferrule and we'll go ahead and put the compression fitting on both sides, on both hoses right here on this side. So let me go get that. Okay, so I will readily admit that I notoriously over tighten compression fittings. I always have, I reckon I always will. Just something about it that says, you know, when it says compression fitting, I just feel like I need to crank down on that, dude. I don't know why that is, but it's just, I don't know. I've always done it. I probably always will. So I'm gonna try to be ginger with this guy and not over tighten it for a change. Get her where she's good and snug and locked on, and then I'm just gonna leave it there. And then, you know, that way I can always, oh yeah, see right there. We're already snug, so I'm gonna give it just a little tug. All right, so now if this guy decides it wants to leak, I can always tighten it up just a little bit. I like them because they have the reusable ferrules and stuff in them. I think that's pretty cool. And that's what I'm doing on this whole truck, on all the air and everything, you know. So, and I already know that the front is leaking, so I'm gonna have to go get some new ferrules and redo that, because which I know what happened. I just over tightened them. I mean, it is what it is. I got a little carried away when I did them. It's been a while since I've worked with compression fittings, so see how much nice and clean this looks over if I just put a little piece of hose on there. Now granted, they'll both work about as well, but this just has a nicer look to it, and it is safer. All right, there we go, good and snug. Both of them good to go. So now, Fishing these guys in here, that's a pain in the butt, not gonna lie. I think one of these was longer than the other. I don't remember which one was which though. Okay, so this one's the one that goes on top. Now because that little tail end of it is a little shorter, I can put it through a little easier. Stick him through. He goes right there. Right there. Make sure I push it in there until it bottoms out. Now, I want to kind of rotate this dude up where it sits thusly. There we go. I want it turned up into that C-notch as much as possible. That way it helps it to kind of sit more flush. That one's good and snug. Boy, the fittings look nice though. It all fits together really nice. I like that a lot. Now see if I can get these to snap together and kind of use this brake line to hold it all in place. That'd be really nice. I mean, I've got some other little like things that I could shoot a screw in and put it and hold them right here. I mean, they don't look as pretty as it just sitting up there the way it's supposed to, or like having something that actually, these are nice because it snaps it in place. I like that a lot. Let's grab this guy. We can get him fished in place. Now my little quick silvery paint job actually turned out looking pretty decent. Like I said, it looks better than the green, I think. Not that I have a problem with OD green, but on this particular job, it was not the look we were shooting for. All right, now we gotta get this guy turned up here with the rest of them. I don't think, yeah, see my little holder won't go down any farther. I don't know if I can get a piece of that or not. Ooh, I can. I mean, they're definitely not perfect, but I'm still pretty proud of them. Yes, I'm using the wrench the wrong way. We will all be okay. All right, that was good and tight. So let me get my little snap deal and see how this is gonna work out. And it looks like it is not going to work out the way I had hoped. Yeah, I can already tell, because even when I snap them together, they're gonna. So if I use this brake line to hold it right there, that's not bad. Yeah, it's not gonna work because it doesn't hold this one very good. Well, crap. I don't really know what else I could do there. So I got like these guys, like I used to hold the airlines with. I think they look kind of cheesy for this. I don't really like them. Not cheesy, but I guess cheap, I guess is more the word I'm looking for. I just think that looks cheap. I'm gonna have to come up with something else. I don't know what, but something else. I'm not happy with that. Okay, dokie. So, it's been a couple days since that last video. I haven't had much time to work because I've been chasing my daughter around. But I did last night. I got to run down here and kind of regroup, work for a few minutes. So, I kind of came with this idea. I whipped up this guy right here out of a little chunk of aluminum that I had here at the house. Basically, I just took, I measured the distance that I wanted my lines apart. I drilled holes and I drilled a hole right here. I found me a little bolt that I had here at the house. I kind of countersunk him down in there like that. And I took and I kind of whittled away at it with a die grinder enough so that it would sit right here on my lines to use as a proper hold down. So I'm envisioning like this. And when I tighten them right there, it'll hold them all really good. I'm really happy with that. They're still not perfect, but the lines aren't perfect any damn way. So, but it should hold them really, really solid and good like I want. So basically now I've just got to mark. My plan is to drill a hole tap it, be able to tighten this bolt, screw, whatever you want to call it, into that, and tighten it, hold it, and then we can go and finish putting our brake lines and our fuel lines and stuff on, because I know how long to make everything and where to mount it. So I did think about today when I was driving home from work, I was just going over thinking about putting this on, and I remembered that when my buddy cut out these plates for me for the C-notch, that he told me that they are cut out of AR500. Now, I know it welded really nice. I know you can't break AR500 because it'll snap because it's so hard. So my fear right now is that this is not going to drill at all. And if it drills, I don't know how it'll tap. So I'm a little nervous about how that's gonna go, because if I can't drill it, I really don't know what I'm gonna do, because I won't really have any way to hold them. I'm not gonna use like a zip tie around the whole damn C-notch, because that would look terrible. So I don't really know at that point. So all I know to do right now is to just mark it and try to drill the stupid thing and see what we come up with. It's not a very big hole, so you know, hopefully if we can get her to punch through, maybe we use enough PB blaster and whatever else to squirt on it to get a tap through it and just go real slow. Now, if I ever get through the AR500, I got this mild steel that's on the backside. I can definitely get through that. So let me get something to mark this with, and then we'll come over here and we'll try to get her drilled. That worked out awesome. Cool, let's put some fuel lines on. All right, so this turned out fantastic. Like they're held down really good. I am so happy with that. Cost me $0. Stuff that I had here, I spent about, I don't know, 45 minutes kind of drilling these holes and making this little thing. Well, that is 45 minutes very well spent. Now, my brake line right now is a little kind of wonky. I see that, so I pulled him up. He's kind of looking good now. Kind of reposition these guys just a shade. Look at that. I mean, nobody's ever gonna see it, but I mean, it's good. I'm really happy with that. I could not be happier with it. So now we got our bracket right here. So got to kind of get an idea for where we're gonna put this guy. So let's try sticking it through a little spot right here. Kind of get an idea for where this is gonna want to live here. So as I tighten that in, so it looks like I just need to make a mark right here, and then we'll drill this out and get it mounted. All right, got my little spot. So let's get this mounted. So I forgot that it has this little adapter piece, because this line won't thread directly into this. I had to buy another little piece. Dadgummit. I hate to just keep, well, this hole was already there, but I did just drill that hole, but I may have to drill another one. I don't know, that might push back far enough, so I guess what I'm gonna do is take this back loose. Put this guy in here. I gotta figure out what size wrench fits that. Let me go get a couple of crescent wrenches and we'll put this together right quick. All the 16th. All right, well, I'm happy with that. And this has got a plastic coating over it. So what I might actually do is take and cut a piece of like a piece of hose, like you know, fuel line or something like that, and glue it right along this edge of this cross member right here. That way, if it does rub, it's just rubbing on rubber and it won't hurt anything. So I'll have to cycle the suspension a couple of times. I'll have to cycle it and see what I like the best about that. Because this way it's all down here. I don't think I could easily put a little piece of rubber right here. I don't think that'll ever rub. I think that's probably going to be the safest spot for it. This is firmly mounted. This is all good. This is all tight, as long as nothing leaks. So next up, we got to get our fuel lines here. Now, I did save them where I cut them off the frame because, and it's a good thing because I really don't remember which line is pressure, which line is return, but it does still have the factory fittings on those fuel lines, and I can tell which one was the top and which one was the bottom. So I'm gonna go grab them right quick, and when we come back, we'll be putting fuel lines on. Yay! Okay, so moving to the fuel lines. So you can see I've got the original fuel lines off the truck right here. And they were on the truck something like this. Now, it had this, it's like it's almost like a nylon hose with like, hey, I don't know, some kind of like nylon rope around the outside of it from the factory. Now, obviously, it was not hose clamped. It runs into like a crimp fitting on the end here. Now, somebody before I ever got the truck, they had already cut these lines and spliced them, and they put a like a piece of, I don't know, like 3/8 fuel line on it and kind of spliced together into this. Now, luckily, this is the other side. It was not. This is a little bit smaller fitting for a little bit smaller line. I'm going to say this is the return. It's still got the factory fitting on it, so I intend to reuse that. And my thought process is I'm just going to slide it over the tubing that we put in. I'm going to put double hose clamps on it. That's what it had on it when I got it, so I don't see any reason why that won't work. This thing right here, it's not the factory fitting, but it's like a replacement you can buy at Advance or somewhere like that. Now, I hate that it's not the right size that will fit. This line's not going to fit over it at all, so I guess I might have to use the little, they had a piece of hose going into a hose barb, then a fitting, then the right size hose barb that would slide over this with a 5/16. So as much as I don't really want to do that, I guess I'm gonna have to do that. I think it's a little bit silly, but I mean, it was working. I mean, the truck was working every day before I bought it. So I mean, I guess, well, why wouldn't it work again? So I'm gonna go on and start piecing this together. I reckon I'm gonna go find a piece of hose and a couple more hose clamps, and then we'll go over to the truck here and see if we can't stick all this together. I think I'm gonna have to go back and look. I think the way I have it right now is exactly how it was on the truck, with this return line being the top hose that was on it right here. I'm gonna go back and go look at my videos to back where I took it off and see, so I can confirm that way I get them set up right. So I'm gonna go look at that right quick, and then we come back and should have everything sitting here so we can stick this stuff together. Because then once we get this fuel line, once we get them hooked to the fuel tank, let's see, then we gotta run the wires back to the back. Obviously there's no taillights and stuff back there now, so I'm not gonna worry about wiring all that up, but we are gonna get the wires pulled all the way to the back of the truck. That way that is all done. And then we gotta get the drive shaft out of it. That way I can take it and drop it off to get it shortened, and shoot, it'll be time to start working on the air tank. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself right now. Fuel lines. So see you in just a second. Alrighty, let's get all our stuff down here. Okie dokie. All right, so this is our return. So if I remember correctly, that guy snaps onto here, just like that. And I do believe this guy, oh man, is this supposed to already be on there? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see, oh, there it goes. Snap that there. I reckon that's how that goes. Looks like a removal tool to me, actually, push it in there, but oh well, it's on there. And probably cut a little bit of, I don't know. I'll just push that hose up on there. It ain't gonna hurt a thing. And then we got this. Now this was the piece that they had on there before. You got like a 3/8 hose barb on this side. You got a 5/16 hose barb on this side. You got this guy, which is like I was talking about. It's like a universal fit fitting. It goes right here on the main supply. All right, snapped on there. So I already kind of cheated, and I kind of roughly set this guy up here. Try to get an idea for length, what it might be looking like here. So if we do that, won't have too long of a piece of hose there, but so I got these little baby hose clamps. Now I'm going to I'm going to put 2 hose clamps on each one of these because once this is, you know, under the flatbed and everything, you won't be able to see it. So I won't know if it were to spring a leak. I wouldn't know it until it ran off the tank and then it ran out of the little pan underneath it, and that's not a good plan right there. So I'd much rather go ahead and, man, this little clamp is not in the best of shape here. Let's see what I can get going on here. If I can ever get him started, we'll be in good shape. There we go. I think I'm good. Well, maybe not. Let's see here. Dang. There we go. All right, so we got one there. Do the same with this bad boy. I went to go buy some new clamps just because it would have been nice to have brand new clamps on it, but they didn't have any, or I couldn't find them if they had them at my Advanced Auto Parts. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them opposite each other, because right there where the flat part of the clamp is might not make quite as good of a seal. So we're going to double this dude up, and I'll flip it that way. There we go. We got one on either side, and we'll know it's gonna seal up good. Dang, that one's already. Hose barbs, by and large, they grip really good anyway, so I'm not super concerned about it. Now this guy, it's pretty smooth, but it is kind of dimpled to put 2 clamps on it right there, so hopefully we can get these 2 thrown on there and they'll seal up nice like the other one. Eureka! All right, so now we'll come over here, put our, it's kind of a lot to go through really, just, you know, to made hardline all the way to here. I wish there was a little simpler way that I could have done it, and I'm sure when I go back and look at this after the fact, I'll think of 17 different ways that I could have done it that would have been, you know, maybe a little easier or a little better, but for now, this is where I'm at. So now I've got to go and look at my video, because I haven't done it yet, to figure out which one of these is the supply and which one is the return. Obviously, I could just track the one all the way up to the fuel pump, and I'll know that's the return, but it's kind of hard to get under the truck at the moment. But I guess I could just air it up and go look right quick. I might just do that. Hang tight for a millisecond. Ooh, all right, so it is the one that I thought. The top line is the main supply line, so that means that this joker right here is going to be the return. I don't feel so bad after looking under there and looking at where my fuel pump is. I don't feel so bad about having all these clamps and stuff back here because good God almighty, there's a bunch of them back there. Or up there. This ain't her first rodeo is what I'm trying to tell you. Man, this little nylon hose does not stretch, nor does it fit up on here super well. Okay, there we go. I reckon it is what it is. All right, returns taken care of. All right, so I gotta get a razor blade and cut this guy. All right, let's see here. Oh, golly. All right, so I like right there. I've never seen any hose like this before. It's like I said, it's like hard nylon or something. It's kind of cool. Oh, I thought I grabbed some more hose clamps. Apparently I did not. Let me get some. Well, it sucks because I had these all wiped off, the ones I was going to use. Now I've had to go get a bunch of dirty ends. Not that it really matters. I know they're going to get dirty again, but still. I like to try to put them on clean if I can. Makes me feel better about it. All right. Huh, that's pretty not bad right there. Damn. Now what I'm probably going to come back and do, and I'll just do it off camera, is I'll come back and I'm going to cut some of this excess off because I don't want it to be rubbing on these hoses at all. Oh, way to go, stupid. Right there. Probably just over tighten that one a little bit, but like I said, these lines are not under pressure, so yeah, I'm gonna definitely come back and cut that little bit of excess off. That way I don't have to worry about it rubbing on my lines or anything, but that is a success. We got brakes, we got fuel,